Hey everyone, and welcome to the ETR training grounds. My name is Sharp, and today we're looking at the 3CB 81mm mortar, comparing it to the 60mm mortar that we've just had a look at, and making sure we can get it set up and firing in around 10 minutes. So let's get started. Okay, so this is a pre-built 81mm mortar. You can either spawn it in the editor like this, but we're going to show you how to build it from scratch. Big difference that you're going to see between this and the 60 is it's a hell of a lot bigger. It comes in two parts, the tripod and the barrel, meaning that if you are going to be moving around with it, you need two people to be carrying it in order to start using it. Its rounds weigh a lot more, which we'll show in a little bit. The advantage of it though is it can shoot further. Maximum range is 4,050 meters compared to 2,350 from the 60mm. And it can fire a wider variety of rounds, some of which I have never used before, such as the laser guided and the guided rounds, but it still fires the old faithful, and that is HE. So let's get it set up and what bits of equipment we do need. So we'll go in our left box. Like I said, you're going to need two men to do this, ideally three, because you may want a spotter or somebody to carry ammunition and do communications. So I need a vector to find the range. I'm going to need a range table. The difference between this and the 60 is the 60mm has the inbuilt range table, which was accessible via left control and B, whereas the 81, even though it says 82 here, you can ignore that, needs an external range table. So you could even have someone else telling you the range while the gunner's concentrating on getting the weapon set up. But let's carry on. And we need the tripod, so we're going to start with the tripod. Let's head over to lane 1, and we're going to just drag and drop onto the floor. Unlike the 60 where we could press 3 to deploy it, we can't with this one. So we just dragged and dropped, and you can see we can pick it back up through the scroll wheel menu. Let's get the barrel, and we'll grab that bad boy. Notice that those bits of equipment also weigh quite a bit, so doing this and carrying ammunition can be a bit of a pain. Scroll wheel option now has assembled the L16 mortar. When you hit it, you end up in an animation, and it takes a few seconds to build the weapon system up. Wait for it, wait for it. Ta-da! And there she is built. Let's get some rounds. We're only going to concentrate with HE, but like I said, it has a wide variety of rounds. Now, one of the big differences between this and the 60, apart from the 81 has a bigger kill radius, is the number of rounds you can carry. So 60mm, let's just right click, I can carry 9 rounds in my backpack. Let's just empty that. So much clicking. And let's load the 81 in. So 1, 2 and 3. Not a lot at all, is it? We could put one more in our vest because we aren't carrying a combat load, but in an ideal world it looks like you're only carrying 3 rounds. And if you're the gunner, you're going to have to carry 3 rounds plus a barrel. So let's see how much we weigh on that one. We weigh 50 kg just by doing that. Now that right there is excessive. You don't want to be doing that, and I just lost a round doing that as well. So just be aware, stamina is a big thing here, especially on Realism servers, so you could run out of breath really quickly or be unable to move. This is where sometimes mortar teams are in vehicles or just left at base, given the fact that they can engage quite far away. To load it again, we need to look at the gun, scroll wheel and prep the rounds. As you can see, we have a lot of options now. Like I said, we're only going to deal with HE. Scroll wheel, we know we've done it right because it's changed colour, and we'll hit the reload, and there she goes. So let's get in the gun, and we're going to engage the same 2 targets that we did last time and show off the UI a little bit. So here we are in the UI, a hell of a lot different than the 60mm mortar. Hopefully they do in 3CB implement a new style, because this is, if you recognise it, the default artillery setting that you can get in game. Our training server unfortunately isn't set up to get rid of this solution area here. However, on our public server in operations this doesn't exist, but this will be removed very soon. Other parts of the UI include the elevation control. As you can see, we're only going to look at the top one. We're not actually going to look at anything else. At the top here, we also have the direction in mils. It's hard to say direction and bearing when you've got the two in your head. Mils is more accurate. Given that the 81mm can fire further, it can be used in an indirect fire mode, meaning that you can't see the target, but we know the distance, we know the relative bearing from where you are. So in this, for example, if we wanted to hit something, say 4k away, and we knew it was a mils bearing of 1726, we could hit that with a high degree of confidence, or be very close with the first round, because we can aim very accurately with this piece of equipment. If, however, you aren't too sure of mils, we can press the interaction menu and toggle that. But be aware, by changing that into degrees, you also change the elevation control here. So if you do need to actually aim with your bearing, be sure to change that back, so that way you can actually access the elevation controls a hell of a lot easier. At the top right, we have the weapons loaded with 1 HE and the charge number. Same again with the 81 as the 60. You press F to change the charge. So at the top right you can see we're on charge 1, charge 2 and back to 0. Nice and simple. So let's take on this tank to our front. Remember that was 200 meters away last time, so we need to get into the range table. How do we do it? Nice and simple. Self-interaction menu, into your equipment and into your 82mm range table. This looks a hell of a lot more different than the other one, as it has more detail, but we only really need to consider ourselves here with columns 1 and 2, and maybe even column number 4 for the time of column 5 for the time of flight. As you can see, charge 0 is 1 to 450, and then as we go up all the way to charge 2, 4050 meters. But we want 200 meters, and that's 1390. So let's set that page up, page down to change it, but just watch the elevation. Aim slightly high so you can see it a bit clearer. By pressing that, it goes up a hell of a lot quick. So how do we slow it down? We press and hold shift, and it then slows it down. So 1390, was it 1390? Let's double check ourselves. Or was it 1290? 1390, so we're fine there. Aim at the target, but it doesn't. We're aiming roughly in the right direction, and 1 away. Reload it and fire again. Let's have a look at the camera. And this should be a very easy shot. One thing to note with the 81, apart from this, is because of the bigger splash, means there's a bigger risk that you are going to take shrapnel if it's a close range fire. So if friendly forces are within 300 meters, take that into consideration. You don't want to be injuring friendlies with the rounds that you fire. Exit the camera. So let's have a look at our guy at 1500 meters, shall we? And let's see how more effective we are at hitting it. Now remember, we got lucky and hit it with the first round last time. Back on this one, but because we have a zoom in zoom out system with the numpad here, we can actually see the target, and we need to change the elevation. So let's go into the equipment range table, and we need to find 1500 meters. There she is, 1168, and it's going to take 26 seconds to get there. So let's have a look. Let's press page down. Away it goes. And what was it, 1165 or 1160? This is where sometimes I forget. 1168. So let's page up. There she is. And let's reload. And notice if we press now, it won't actually hit that target, because right now we're in charge 0. So we need to press F. And now we can engage the target. So get ready to fire, and 1 away. And we'll reload, and 1 away. and let's have a look how accurate we are again. Now, because we've got the little bit of a cheaty UI, which unfortunately you can't disable with this one, like I said, hopefully they bring out their own one that looks a lot better and isn't as futuristic, a bit more realistic. Hopefully that's coming soon. And that's the first round, and that's the second round with an 81mm. That is pretty damn accurate. Let's get out of that and get out of that one as well. Let's fire a smoke round. Now, smokes with the 81 are very spectacular, and are also very useful for indirect fire missions where you fire one round smoke and they'll call for the shot, so if you need to move it left or right, and it's easier for the infantry or a spotter to see it on the ground. So let's have a look. That's our target from before, and let's fire a smoke. Let's see what happens. Let's get down there, see what we get. Now, it will explode like a HE round. However, you have the benefit of the smoke on it. I'm not quite sure if the explosion does cause damage, but given how violent it sounds, I'm suspecting it will cause some damage to whoever does hit. So, again, be careful with how you use it. So as you can see, we've impacted, and that's what we get when it deploys. A nice light pile of smoke. Now, if we have a look at that from outside the gun, look at that from down there. That's one hell of a view, and hopefully with that sort of size somebody will be able to spot that for you. So with that, you can see we've made a bit of a bigger mess this time than normal. One thing with the 81 is obviously it's a bigger team that's required. If you are travelling in vehicles, you can load this weapon system already into the ace cargo of a truck, meaning that you spend less time having to set the weapon up, meaning you can carry the rounds on you as well as while you carry this into a position. But if you lose the vehicle, you run the risk of losing the weapon, so you know, it swings and roundabouts, risk reward on that one. The 81 is obviously better for hitting harder targets further away, whereas the 60 was the line of sight mortar. But there are plus and minuses for both of them. In an upcoming video, what we're going to do is have a look at elevation difference and have a look at engaging targets that aren't bang on 1500 meters. So how do we engage a target that's in between ranges? That'll be a different video for another time. So if you've enjoyed this one, leave a like, think about subscribing to the channel, and if you have any comments, leave them in below. Any questions, do the same, or head over to tacticalrealism.eu, where you can ask questions there, or head to the Discord where you can chat to us directly and find out how to get on the server and play with us. Again, I've been Sharp, thanks for watching.